The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it's Monday in the Riv.
Monday in the Riv, and what a day it is. It's a beautiful day out today, and have we got the news for you?
Oh, yes. We got tons of stuff here.
Well, of course, it's Monday. So what does Monday mean? The Marc Monroe Dion column in the Herald News.
Yeah. Marc again talking about the purple bags, and again he turns, and I like to see he's using the phrase that I think we really began with, calling it the Riv. So he's now calling it the Riv, and it's good to know. And I like it. He talks about the bags, and then he refers to our mayor again as the universal mayor. Said those flimsy little bags made possible the career of Jazel Carrere, the universal mayor, who is currently in France learning how to ride a train. When he comes back, he's going to show the rest of us how to ride a train. Hint, get inside the train. Do not ride on top of the train. And then he goes on and talks about how Fall River is a granite monument to failure, ignorance and defeat. So we don't seem to be do anything right except tax. He talks about the purple bags being a tax on the 88,000 poorest people in the state. Well, guess what? We all know that our illustrious mayor is over there having a good time. The politicians always say it's for a really good reason, like learning about the transit system, even though their transit system doesn't translate to the United States, as we covered before. So, gone in a flash. They came, they went, they caused a lot of dissension in the middle, and there are people that are incensed anyway by, again, after the rally of political hacks flapping their gums about, oh, the loss of jobs, how are they going to pay their bills? They raised the water fees, they raised the taxes, and I'm looking at the headlines here again. Weaver's Cove, major tax abatement. Guess who's going to pay for that abatement?
I have no idea. Maybe me?
Yeah, you the taxpayer. Everybody gets their, the businesses get their taxes reduced, their tax factor reduced. Everybody gets a TIF. Everybody gets an abatement, and we pay it all. So, again, we're not going to go up 2.5. We've explained that before. We're going to go up probably 14 or 15%, and to a population that just can't afford it. But I like to see there is some ire. I've gotten reports from some of our viewers that a lot of people are calling the local radio show and complaining about it. And actually, I will bring to your attention, if you get a copy of Saturday, the 19th Herald News, letters to the editor. The headline, watch your wallet, Carrere has friends to pay. And I won't read the whole article because it's very long, and you guys can read it. But it ends with, be sure to keep a tight rein on that paycheck, as His Honor may have a few more friends needing meaningful employment. Well said, Mr. Napert. Nice letter. Again, here it is, a regular taxpayer complaining about the never-ending barrage of taxes and fees that goes before a totally clueless and insensitive to the impact city council. And I noticed in a weekend flesh you told the council president that actions speak louder than words, so to speak. I'm paraphrasing now.
That's exactly what I said.
But so true, so true. I very rarely don't, we always try to blame Jazel, because it is ultimately his fault because the buck stops there. But he's not alone in this organized crime syndicate we call a city government. The city council is our accessories before, during, and after the fact of the decimation of your wallet. The reality is that they sit there and talk a good game and never saw a fee increase they didn't vote for. Never saw a tax increase they didn't vote for. You know, as I said, it's gotten to the point where the Herald News refers to it as the historic tax increase. It's historically, that's the way it always has been, but that's not true. Only in the recent past have these propagandists from the Goebbels University of Propaganda convinced people that a tax increase should be automatic, in spite of all the economists who say taxes are regressive, taxes negatively impact an economy, taxes are bad, that we should, and the fact that our government should be a minimal government, just enough to provide us with essential services, not be an employment agency for every political hack, and then, to make it worse, give them these gigantic salaries. It's just ridiculous. So if this doesn't start your week off with a high level of anger, I don't know, CJ. What else can we do to inflame them?
I don't know. Throw some gasoline on that fire, maybe.
That's right. You know, you know, and you know, we know that I don't think the mayor's not back, is he? He's still wandering around Europe.
I haven't heard if he's back yet. I mean, he might be. You never know.
Didn't somebody speak on his behalf at Low Price Lenny's?
Yeah, Joe Macy spoke on his behalf.
Oh, you mean a guy that's supposed to be working part-time?
Yeah.
I wonder if we got charged for those hours.
I don't know.
And since when is he the spokesman? He's a lawyer. You know, the judicial branch is now speaking for the executive branch. I don't know. And if you want to get irritated more, there's also another article in the Herald News. Florida Housing Authority employee with a suspension history, paid leave. They made a deal, and this is going to make you really good, because what is the average income? I got to divide that quickly. I got to do a little quick math here. The average income in Fall River per capita, according to the statistics, is $22,000. But I'll tell you what, I'll put in $23,000. I'll give you, you'll be one of the more affluent, people in Fall River.
You're one of the 92%.
That's right. And I'm going to divide it by 52 weeks. And so you make a staggering $442.30, or 31 cents if you want to round it up at the, you know, if you want the 0.7 up to 1.
$1,800 a week paycheck. I mean, he makes a lot of money.
So this guy who's had, and read the article, he's had history, suspensions,
sexual harassment,
suspensions in this day and age.
Violating policy.
Estacio, he in the meantime, he made an agreement. I'll tell you what, I'll make an agreement right now to resign, and I don't even have a job there if they give me this deal. Estacio will receive $1,800 a week. Remember what I just said, people. $440 a week is what you're getting. He's settling for $1,800 weekly paycheck, and when he files for retirement, he'll get a lump sum of, you're holding this, hold on to your seat, sit down, maybe
I'm waiting.
Strap yourself in. A lump sum of $27,000 for a buyback for 50 sick days and 25 vacation days. They reached an agreement, and it's mutually acceptable to both parties.
$120,000.
So you know what is the moral to this story? If you don't have a skill, If you can't go to a technical school or a college,
Go work for the housing
and you
authority.
can't find a job, go hold a sign for a politician. Kiss his butt. Follow him around with water and wine and cheese and wait on him hand and foot. And you too, with no qualifications, can get a job that after you screw up for about 10 years, they finally kick you to the curb. But it's a soft landing because you're going to be making $1,800 a week.
Kind of
I'll
sad,
tell you
isn't it?
what. You'll wonder why the taxes are so high in government. Just look at all these government jobs in the lottery, in the MBTA, in the housing authority, in government center, everywhere.
But I like the way this was worded.
Oh,
The housing authority and Estesio reached a $120,000 settlement agreement to leave his employment with the agency. Isn't that nice? To leave the employment with the agency. Now, Mike Farrell had a similar situation because he was the facilities manager, I believe it was, for the housing authority. And he said, yeah, Michael Farrell, he was suspended without pay in January of 2017. The salaries were eventually reinstated retroactively, but after several public hearings, Farrell resigned after reaching a $142,000 separation agreement.
oh, my head's going to explode. I was going to say that. Now, here's two guys that engaged in, and look, talk about Fall River as Marc Monroe Dion said, a granite monument to incompetency and stupidity, and he didn't say stupidity, that's my, but here are two employees that basically they found guilty of harassing employees, and in this day and age, the hashtag Me Too movement. Fall River, you know, they're cutting these people loose. They're going to get a pension, and they're getting big money, and they all walk away, and the housing authority goes, oh, well, we're happy. We got rid of them. It was a good settlement.
And it only cost us $267,000.
Good for who? Well, obviously, if you were in private industry, they would be walking out fired. They'd have to sue you to get a dime. But you're a public entity. You're dealing with federal money. You're dealing with taxpayers' money. It's not your money. So to hell with it. Give them a settlement. But because you got to remember what the common denominator is here. The reason they get these settlements, people, it's not because the housing authority is altruistic. It is because these people got their jobs from some politician. And if this board, who is made up of, oh, you mean the bean counter, Mary Sahadi, throws around money in a housing authority like it's going out of style. But they got these jobs because of political patronage. And if the current people make it difficult on them, if they get kicked to the curb later on down the line, the next batch of political hacks might say, you know something? We're not going to give you crap. Take us to court, like they told the regular people. You want some money even though you're, take us to court. They're not going to give you that nice, rich, golden parachute. Why? Just like the legislators in Boston will not pass stiff penalties for drunken driving. Because they might get stopped for DUI, or one of their relatives might get stopped. You don't see punishments being meted out and mandatory sentencing virtually anywhere except where they elect judges, not appoint them like we do in this state where every judge is a political hack. And of course, when I go to court, I'm sure I'm going to suffer for that agreement. But fortunately, I don't go to court that often. But the reality is that's the way it is. Politicians taking politicians. Anybody who dysfunctionally believes the Commonwealth of Massachusetts' Constitution, it says at all times our elected officials are answerable to us. You need definitely some mood-altering drugs, because if you truly believe that they're answerable in any way to anybody but themselves, but they are in a way, but it's in a way that nobody wants to do. Vote. Go to the polls and vote them out, but nobody seems to want to do that again. Remember the old days, CJ, when during an election, we used to have 75% turnouts.
Yep.
And you know, people used to go to the polls and vote people in and vote people out if they weren't abiding by their sworn duty to uphold the Constitution, to be answerable to the people. They actually voted these people out. Now, everybody throws their hands up and they're dancing in the streets if we got 18%. It's like, oh, look at that. That wasn't bad. Really? That wasn't bad. And, you know, why? Well, most of the people who used to vote are gone. They all moved to Somerset and Westport and Dartmouth, and they got out of Dodge because they were sick and tired of watching what was going on. But they held taxes down. So until you rise up and we have another revolution, you know, we can't call it the Boston Tea Party. We can call it the Rivs Charisse Party. We can all throw Charisse links into the Taunton River. But until you do, you know, the status quo will remain. We're going to have things like this where people are going to be getting $1,800 in a week when the average person of Fall River is making $400, after he's got a long, long history of disciplinary actions. He should have been fired. Well, I mean, read the article, you know, but I will warn you, before you do read the article, get an extra large bottle of extra strength Pepto-Bismol because you're probably going to need it to keep your stomach that stop from regurgitating.
Well, seeing that we're talking about money, I think you have the same printout there that I have right here.
Oh yes, oh yes.
The top 100 pays in the school department.
Yeah. Public record, by the way.
Yep. Matthew Malone, $186,362.36. Lisa Moy, Executive Director of Special Education and Student whatever, Special Education Department, $133,184.75. Maria Ponce, Principal, Cuss Middle School, $129,403.21. I'm not going to go through all of these, but I just think that this is funny. You got principals that are making money from between $129,000 and $124,000.
Well, let me.
Director of Operations and Media, Randy Kochman.
Yeah.
Okay, $121,000 a year.
Well, not a bad gig. Listen, I'll just, so before we're not going to go through the whole list.
No, we're not going to go through the whole list.
But I will tell you, let me just make a point here. Because talk about when education reform resulted in everything but education reform, because the money doesn't go to the students and the teachers. It goes to all these jobs that never existed 30 years ago, when we actually had a better educational system, smaller classrooms, and far more students to deal with. You have to get down to the 42nd person before you get, that's the last one making 100,000. And then the next down to 60, they are still in the 90s. Number 60 is making 96,000, right? And that's an elementary school teacher.
Well, I know where to be a school nurse in Fall River. School nurse, $95,000 a year.
Yeah, don't be a school nurse in special ed, though. Those are the people that do that, work with the special ed.
Yeah, they don't get paid well.
They don't pay. They're holding up their contract for 12 people for $81,000. But we get down to number 100, and I feel bad. It's a middle school teacher, and it's a pauper. She's a pauper. I don't know how she can live in a city that's average income, per capita income is 22,000. She's only making, remember, number 100 in this bureaucracy that we call an educational system that doesn't perform. $91,690.81 with the summer off, by the way. Okay, not bad. If that doesn't get you, if that doesn't want to make you get in a bus, go up to Boston, strangle your state reps and your senator, and tell them if you don't reform education reform to get rid of all this crap, because the autonomy of the school department has created an empire where they all get rich and they all whine. They got school teachers all over the country complaining about they're not getting paid. Come to Fall River. All you people from Oklahoma and Arkansas or whatever.
And make some real money.
Or come up here. You're making $29,000 a year for being a school teacher. Come up here where you can make 96, 91.
Hey, if you're a gym teacher, you can make $94,000.
Look, look.
How about being a dean of student support?
Oh, here we don't start with the deans of students. When was the first? Look, okay.
$94,598.
We're dating ourselves here, but when was the first time you ever saw a dean of students, CJ?
When I was at a university.
First time I ever saw a dean of students is when I went to college.
Yeah.
So when I went to high school and I went to grammar school, there were no deans of students. There were no chief operating officers. And remember something, people. The school department has virtual duplications of things that are already being paid for by you, the taxpayer, once. The school department,
CFO.
A CFO. We have a CFO for the city. Why? The school department's part of the city. Why is the CFO? Why do they need a CFO? Why do they need a treasurer? We have a city treasurer. We have an entire department devoted to that. But they have a treasurer. They have a CFO. They have assistant principals. We have, I know, and I haven't done the stats, I'll be perfect, in a while. We have one of the highest administrative ratios, administrators to teacher ratios in the state. Yet we're not in the top 100 for an educational system. So we're all these jobs and this giant budget that goes up every single year because of education reform. It's a place where the fancier title you can come up with, the more you can pay, and we have duplications of jobs all over the place. Am I anti-teacher? Absolutely not. I'm pro-education. My daughter is a teacher. She taught at UMass Dartmouth, and now she teaches at a high school. Not in Fall River, thankfully. However, I'm pro-education. Teachers should make a good salary. But COOs, CFOs, treasurers, special education director, I mean, look, this is a city where the average person, like I said, 88,000 of the poorest people in the state. And this is what's breaking your back every year. We talk about the increase in property taxes. Well, part of that, too, is, we have to pay for education. And the education is non-performing. Remember, we didn't make the top 100. And look at this tab. This is just incredible. The 100th person on this salary is making $690. $690.81. The 100th person. Do you realize that's 4.5 times what the average person in Fall River is making? This is just, look. We don't wonder why it makes me crazy, because you see this and you see what's going on, and guys with getting terminated, Hey, like I said, I don't even work at the Housing Authority. You want to make a deal with me? I promise I won't even put in for a job at the Housing Authority if you give me $1,800 a week. I'll settle for that, or I'll settle for the $147,000 the other guy got. It's just... Look, if you're not sick and tired of being abused, by the politicians. I don't know when you're going to get sick and tired of it, and hopefully there are a lot of people calling the party line. There are people now writing letters to the editor, and when this budget gets passed, hopefully in the next election we will see a tidal wave of people running to the polls to bounce everybody who votes for this budget, everybody, because that's what we need. We need to start creating a revolving door. Like our revolutionary forefathers. They dropped their hoes and put the horse in the barn, and they picked up their muskets, and they went out to fight for their country. Some of them became politicians, and then after a term or two, they went back to their farm.
That's exactly what it was created for.
That's exactly right. Government was never, ever created to become a full-time occupation, and that's what's happened. We have polluted it. We have destroyed the concept that this country was based on. The Minuteman, the citizen soldier, the person who temporarily puts aside his personal life to serve for a little while and serve his country and then go back and then keep a perspective of who he's serving. He's serving himself and people like him, not become a political tick that will get his entire family, everybody he even remotely knows from a cocktail party, a high-paying job, stick his head in a trough, let people in the United States die because they got crappy health care, let the pharmaceutical companies rape the people of the United States and sell drugs anywhere else in the world cheaper, while they get the best health care in the world and get a full pension for serving one day in Congress. That is deplorable.
That's sick and tired of being sick and tired, that's for sure.
That's right.
Well, you know, the last thing that we're going to talk about today on the show is, hey, we got a new bridge name in Fall River. The Low Price Lenny Kaplan Footbridge. That's the bridge that takes you from the Battleship Cove parking lot over to the center, the Heritage Park Center.
Do they have gold kazoos on either side of the bridge?
No, we got purple kazoos at the ceremony yesterday.
Okay.
It was a beautiful ceremony yesterday. It brought tears to Lenny's eye. Many people were there to support Lenny. He came back from Georgia. Even though he's in poor, failing health, he actually went into the hospital after he got up here in Kent County, and he actually came out of the hospital just to attend this ceremony. So they have named the bridge after Lenny. We had a wonderful day yesterday celebrating with Lenny Kaplan and his family. There were too many politicians. Way too many politicians to even speak about. But, you know, this is a man that's done so much for the community, has done so much for civic organizations like the Boy Scouts, the Girl Scouts, the United Way. He's done a lot. And this man...
Senior Sweetheart.
The Miss Senior Sweetheart pageants. And he didn't even live in Fall River. He was from Cranston, Rhode Island. And he was Fall River. He was Fall River. And to everyone else, he was Fall River.
Yeah, he was a big part of this community. And he I mean, from the flags on 4th of July to you know, he's been part of the fabric of this city for a very, very long time. And the thing about Lenny is he remembers that he remembers the days when taxes weren't automatic, when people cared about people. Lenny knows a lot of people in his community. A lot of people know Lenny, and that's the problem. You know, we have a mayor that's walking around in France or Europe now with his tam on, you know, and and while the city burns down. So.
While Jazel plays his fiddle, he watches the city burn.
That's right.
And Marie Antoinette said, let them eat cake. Hey, congratulations, Lenny. It was a great time yesterday. I enjoyed spending it with you. And thank you for watching today, people. Yeah. Remember, stay angry.
Hope you feel better, Lenny. And remember, if you want to make a good settlement, get a political job.